Hey, how's it going? Oh, thank you. How's your drive?
It's good. I had to stop a couple of times because I had calls that Zoom and Teams.
Oh, nice.
It's never stops.
Yeah,
So
it's nice to see you.
all
Um,
good. Same here.
did you get a full lunch, or you want to get
No,
some?
no. I just. I mean, if you want to grab something to eat, I'm good with that. But I just grab like an apple, like a
Oh,
little
nice.
apple from McDonald's.
From this McDonald's?
That's McDonald's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just because I couldn't stop now.
Oh, yeah. How long did it take to come here?
Uh, from Aventura, it was about 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Not bad.
That's
It's
pretty good.
always like that.
How have you taken the Bright line?
I have, but today I had to go to another place before, so it was a little bit more. Yeah, the car was better.
I've never taken it, but
I taken and sometimes if I travel, sometimes on the return I just take the other train, the Tri City. That it's kind of, but it's okay because it's only takes me 20 minutes to go back to Hollywood on that, and then I take an Uber to go home.
Hmm.
It's much faster than taking an Uber all the way from the airport. Actually, taking the train.
yeah, that's a
Because
good
of traffic.
strategy.
Traffic depends on the traffic. Depends on the time of the day. But so as much as I can leverage public transportation.
Yeah, if only it was better.
Yeah. I used to live here in Edgewood. Yeah, very close.
Really?
Until about a year and a half ago, we moved to Hollywood. We used
Hmm.
to live there by just by the Venetian. So
What inspired the relocation?
wanted to move to a house. So I yeah I sold my house in LA. I was in LA for 34 years
LA?
in Los Angeles. Yeah,
What part?
and you know where the observatory is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in Los Feliz.
Mm-hmm.
I was just underneath the observatory. I, I could walk to the observatory. I
Wow,
would walk almost every day, just hike up there for exercise. So my house was right there. And
that's interesting. Must have been a good view.
yeah, yeah, it was I had a huge property, uh, almost an acre, terrace connected to the park, so a lot of the wildlife, and it was living in the city, but at the same time, like you are in the countryside in a way. Except with the coyotes was a problem, but with the dogs and all that. But sold everything. My daughter, her daughter, she's 30. She's now in San Francisco. She was living with her mom in Portland after college and didn't want to come back to LA. So I had a huge house just by myself. And I felt, heck, that's when I sold the previous company. I sell everything. I just gave every piece of material stuff I had to Goodwill.
Really? Wow.
And just basically said, I don't want to have any baggage to carry, and move here. I was starting this company, and I didn't know anybody. So a friend of mine who lives in Marco Island said, "Oh, yeah, I'll connect you with this guy who's running an incubator, so at least you'll meet people in Miami." And So through him, I met a lot of people, and on that incubator actually, and then I met a woman who's my girlfriend now, who I also I'm from Argentina originally, so she's also from Argentina. So I met her through an app actually, and we we've been together for the last 6 years. So
Congrats. It's a long time.
it's a long
I've
time.
never been with someone 6 years.
Just-
Not even 1.5.
it's always like this. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Some friends of mine that had long-term marriages. I was married like what, 12, 13 years, and then I separated and divorced eventually. But friends who have married 2, 3, 4 times, they said, it doesn't matter who the woman is, you end up in the same place sooner or later. So
It tends to happen.
it's like
Um,
it's always we're just complete different wavelength with women in general. So
that's an American problem. I can imagine the situation down in Argentina must be a little bit different.
I don't know. It's and and I know now the problem that I see with my daughter, as an example, is that, and I heard from many parents and people, you know, you are what, in your 20s, right?
21.
21, right? But people in the late 20s, 30s, even mid 30s, they just don't want to have children. A lot don't want to have children. Some don't want to. My daughter, her experience is like most of the people are in their 30s and 40s are still behaving like they are 20. Okay? And
That makes sense.
it's they just don't want to stop partying or slowing down. So it's a very high percentage of women who are frozen their eggs just to have children later, maybe, and another percentage of the population doesn't is not interested in having kids. So there are interesting dynamics going on, and it doesn't matter. That happens also not just here in the States; it's all over the world. So
definitely not in South America, not in Africa, definitely not Africa. Maybe in Europe and maybe Asia, but it's mostly a Western thing.
So, and your family is from
Cuba,
Cuba,
Santiago.
So you are second or third generation. Your
First
parents
gen.
came here,
I'm.
or your grandparents came here.
I was born in America. I was born in Hialeah, so basically Cuba. But my parents came here from Cuba.
From Cuba.
Yeah, my mom was born in Cuba. I was born in Hialeah, which is northern Cuba.
Yeah, he's American. So
Yeah, that's my dad's French, as well. So
but they met in Cuba.
no, they met
Here.
America,
Okay.
Miami.
Okay. So you speak French and Spanish.
Yep.
English. So trilingual.
And also Russian and Chinese.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
So,
I'm trying to learn
as many languages as you can.
Yeah, because there's this theory in linguistics that the
When you learn 5 languages, they say you can learn any language.
hopefully.
It's very fast to learn other languages after you learn 5 languages because the roots are the same.
I just think it's the willingness to learn. Like if you're willing to, like if you learn 5 languages already, you're probably willing to learn 5 more, and you get like you've seen the problems again and again with like pronunciation and things like that. But in linguistics, there's a theory that the language that you think in is the language that shapes how you think.
Yeah.
And so if you're limited by one form of a language, then you're going to be limited of how you think in that language. Like I can think in Spanish, and thinking in Spanish is different than thinking in English.
Oh, of course.
Um,
Not only your thought process, your emotions, how you connect with people, everything. This is being studied quite a bit right now.
Yeah.
So, so it's how you perceive others, the different genders. So it's so now you are like so now you are expanding your. That's great. Your way of thinking.
Yeah, always.
Try to.
There was a really good alien movie about this whole thing of field of linguistics. Like, there was a movie that it's called Arrival, an amazing movie, where basically like the aliens, they don't think linearly. Like, you know how like we think like past is the past, future is the future. They think in non-linear time, like a circle. They see the future, they see the past, all in one. Super weird, but amazing. And that's what like it's like, huh? What if we could get an AI to do this? Then the AI could see the future. Or what if we could do this as humans? And it's very fascinating.
And
Well, my belief is that everything coexists. It's just from a relativistic standpoint where time is irrelevant, right? So like everything can coexist. So the future and the past and the present, and so it's in a way it's like living in a different virtual state. But
That could be the case.
You could collapse it, right? So from a physics standpoint, you could collapse it if you just if time is the only variable there. And, but in some languages there is no future, right? It's just you just present and past. That's it, like in Japanese.
Well, I mean that makes sense because like humans, for human, we don't experience the future. We experience present. Like there's just presence. You know, there's like right now. We cannot live in the future and be in the present at the same time. When people talk about future, it's really just a prolonged presence, like real time presence. So that I didn't know that about the Japanese.
Yeah, there are references to just use specific. They have to say the year or the date or the day, add that to refer to the future. But their present tense is the same present tense in the language. You just add the word per se, Friday. So you're talking in present time, but by adding Friday, it's going to happen in the future or 2025.
Hmm.
So, Japanese is a very easy language to learn. I mean, I lived there for 6 months.
Really?
Yeah.
What compelled you to go there?
I went there before I came to the States. This was 1984, and I was looking at what to do that year outside of Argentina until coming to the States and applied to different scholarships, and I got this one to study what it eventually became Six Sigma. It wasn't called Six Sigma until 86 and 84. So I was there for 6 months, pretty much learning all the Six Sigma processes and visited about 23 different companies. I got two offers, one from Toyota to stay there, and then for another company, Nippon Denso. But I passed on those to come to Los Angeles. So I was going to pursue aerospace engineering.
You mentioned that.
So that's what brought me to the States originally.
Is the
the aerospace capital El Segundo. Have you ever been there
No, I haven't.
in LA?
Which one? Which you say?
El Segundo.
Oh, El Segundo. Not anymore. It's used to be because it's where LAX is. Is El Segundo is around. No, it was Rockwell was there and Northrop was there, but they have most of them have moved. Um, so
I was there in February for a hackathon,
okay.
and we're building like swarms of drones and like just a lot of drone defense tech. We built signal jammers, like just a bunch of military stuff.
The Rand Corporation is in Santa Monica. So
Who?
The Rand Corporation. You
Who-
know what the Rand is? It's a very interesting organization. It was basically you would love. I'll go. I'll get you a book that is
Oh,
very,
thank you.
um, very interesting that you will appreciate. The the Rand Corporation it's been a think tank primarily for originally built for computer design and then for defense and independent from any political activities. And it was funded by U.S. government and private grants, and it has has a lot of economic discovery and models, like a lot of the different economy models came out of there, which they were applied, like game theory is an example of
Really?
was game theory.
Was that von Neumann?
It was he was involved very well.
He's a big inspiration. I like it. He did a lot of stuff. He not only helped create game theory, but also the atomic bomb and a vast array of other things as well.
Yeah.
So he's a very interesting person. But I think so. El Segundo now there's as of now there's a resurgence of a lot of hard tech, deep tech startups in El Segundo. Like fusion, people building fusion, people trying to mine asteroids, like a bunch of crazy shit. And I'm bullish on El Segundo. I think it's might be a very easy place to build a hard tech manufacturing company of sorts. But LA is very interesting. I lived there almost. Well, so when I got kicked out of my first high school, I went to LA, and I just lived there for a couple months. But compared to Miami, it's radically different.
Yeah, here. I mean, people say, "How do you like Miami?" I said, "Do you want me to answer?" After being in LA for 34 years, I can't answer that.
Yeah, it's it's yeah. And how is LA's healthcare industry?
Well, you have such a big and diverse population there that it's big, and the UC, the UC system is a big influencer on everything. So you have the USC, you have UC, you have the other smaller universities in the area. So, but I think that because of USC and UC, there is a lot of mega activities. Plus, you have Cedar Sinai, which is a powerhouse for healthcare. So then in Orange County, there is also a lot of large healthcare organizations. I I built my first business there. I was just that's so I know the healthcare delivery network very very well, and it's very connected with healthcare in Southern California.
Your current company, was that started here or there?
I this what happened after I sold my previous company uh, 8.5 years ago. Even during the transition, because I stepped down. I was basically I founded the company. I was CEO. I not all the time. I hired a CEO, and then he passed away, and I stayed as a CEO. I was CEO for the first, I'll say, 5 6 years. Then I hired a CEO, and then at the end, I I had to literally during the sale of the company step down because I didn't want to be. The lawyers told me I don't want to have a conflict of interest with investors in the process of selling the company, and so we hired a team to deal with that. And that's so. But during that time, towards the end of it, and 6 months later, I moved. It was a total of about 8 months. I moved to Santa Ynez Valley, which is next to Santa Barbara. That is wine and horse country. I have a not anymore. We're selling it in the next month or so. I had a wine business with a friend of mine, so it's we. So I moved there to the vineyard, and during that time, just to decide what I wanted to do next, and just basically read philosophy and just take it easy and go and work with the horses and things like that. I started looking at what to do, and then I was looking for a big problem, but very focused problem, because in the previous company, the way things had evolved with that company, we acquired a lot of companies, and so we had all different solutions. And as we expanded geographically and internationally, it was a lot of these different units competing with one another for funds, and internally, it was very difficult to manage. So I say I want to have something that's very narrow, a small group of people, but just to solve a big problem. And I discovered this what's called risk adjustment problem, and basically it has it may have been reduced now, but when I was done the study, it had an 11.9% error margin, which is basically the error between codes that the doctor select, diagnosis that the doctor select, and what is in the clinical notes. So if you just look at the clinical notes and you say, I'm going to read this and I'm going to come up with the diagnosis out of the clinical notes, and then what each of the doctors select, you have an almost 12% error. So the doctors would code for something, but the clinical note doesn't support that, or there is a better code, more specific, that they could code for based on what the clinical notes say, what is written in there. So that gap between documentation and codes that are submitted to the health plans and the Medicare or CMS, federal government agency managing healthcare in the country, that gap of, let's say, 12% translate in terms of money to about $60 billion a year.
Wow. And is that because of the speed? Like the speed at which patients are accurately diagnosed, or
No, it's just there is basically, I'll give you an example. Let's say that I have uh, diabetes type 2 um, with complication of nephropathy. Okay, and then my nephropathy, my kidney disease is stage 1, but and that's or stage 2. But in the code that's selected by the doctor says is nephropathy stage 1. So it means that they're undercoding because the second level of the complication of the disease pays more, right? Now, the same way, if let's say that they put that is stage 2, but the documentation doesn't support it, now it's an overcoding situation because they're sending a code, a specific code that is not supported by what is in the documentation. And in the documentation, even if the patient, let's say I have those conditions, the fact that they have the condition doesn't mean that the doctor or the health plan should be paid for that condition. They only should be paid if they prove that they are monitoring, evaluating, assessing, and treating that condition this year, every calendar year. So you have to show proof of management of each condition in order to be paid. If you don't, it's considered fraud. And if it's not documented, it's like there's no evidence. So that's the issue, and that's lack of documentation or a less specific coding on the aggregate create that $60 billion error. And that's
Wow.
that's one of the things. And that's what I thought, okay, let's go and solve that problem by reading through the notes, identifying all these elements that are supported and comparing with what the doctors have coded and submitted. And let's close that gap as much as possible.
Very interesting. And the platform that you showed me, this is doing all this.
It's doing that, but
I feel like it's a lot more flexible than just that. Like there's like
no, that is this is one use case.
oh
right?
okay, yeah.
This is my first use case. That is, so if I solve that case,
Can you do?
yeah, it's like my Trojan horse, right?
Yeah.
So if I get with that case, then I can do all the other ones. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me I'll draw a couple of things for you, so you, because will be very. Do you have a pen by any chance? Oh, I think
might
any pen.
a couple. This one may or may not work.
First of all, this is how medical records work. You go to a doctor, and the doctor, there's subjective data, objective data, assessment and plan. Okay, it's not the soap from programming. This is a subjective, objective assessment and plan. This is how the doctors document. Anywhere in the world, documents will follow. The doctors will follow this. This
For diagnosis.
for how to manage the patient.
Oh, I see.
So they take subjective data. Everything you tell the doctor, your social things, your family things, all that goes into a subjective. The objective is anything that you can measure. Okay. Out of these two things, they make an assessment. The diagnosis is part of that assessment. And based on this, that usually sometimes they have multiple things they have to rule out which one is the right one. They do a plan of care. Sometimes it's to rule out. So they said, okay, I'm going to order labs, I'm going to do x-rays, whatever, procedures, whatever, so we can see if my assessment is correct or is a differential diagnosis or something that's more specific. And based on this, then as part of the plan are the referrals and all the things. So the assessment is crucial here. It's at the center of the equation. So if you have to look at Venn diagram approach, right? So you have subjective, objective, and plan, right? Now, everything goes into the assessment. What happened? That you're going to have multiple assessments. You go to a medical practice and it's always a bell-shaped distribution like everything else in life of things. Okay? So I say, okay, I have this condition. This is my assessment today for a patient. Okay? And this assessment. Another patient shows up. Okay, and they said, okay, for this is the assessment 2. What happened? Let's say a new patient shows up now, and it has all these things. Okay, the assessment is, there are only 3 possibilities. It's either the same as this one, right? The patient shows up with the same subjective and objective data. So it's exactly the same thing. Okay? It's completely different, that was never documented before. The doctor has not seen another patient with that assessment. Or is a little similar to the one that I've seen before. I'll give you an example. You come and you said, okay, I have, or that's the case of diabetes. I have diabetes. Now, what changes in my assessment with another patient who has diabetes? Everything is the same. Let's say everything is the same. The only thing that is different is that I have a different health plan.
The health plan by the insurers.
Is the insurer. My insurer, just by that, changes the assessment. Why changes the assessment? Because based on my health plan, the laboratory that I need to use is Quest instead of LabCorp.
Which one is better?
It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that it's a different laboratory. My cardiologist that he's gonna, or the doctor he's gonna refer me, a cardiologist, is in a different network because he's contracted with one health plan versus the other. So the plan that he needs to follow is different.
So depending upon your insurance plan, your health plan is going to be fundamentally different, and then the methodology of treatment is different. Is that what you're saying?
It's the pathway is different, yes, of treatment. Because let's say that I don't have the resources of paying my co-payment of the medication, and I haven't met my deductible. So the medication that's going to be prescribed to me will be different than medication to someone who can pay for another medication.
If you pay more, is that better?
They may be better medications.
How do you get a better plan like that?
Better plans cost more money.
Like per month insurance?
Mhm.
So depending upon your health insurance, you will get less or higher qualities of care.
Yes.
I see. But what if in the case that, like, people buy insurance plans because they can't pay for the full treatment of healthcare, right? What if someone could pay for it, like the full treatment of healthcare? They didn't need like insurance.
That's fine.
Does that work as well?
That works as well because but on the other hand, each doctor has his own way of thinking and his own knowledge base. He's practicing based on this bell-shaped curve of experience of what he knows how to assess. Is what you are doing now with EPIC. Most doctors will not follow the best pathway of care because the studies show that it would take any doctor anywhere in the United States to catch up with everything they need to know about 4 years. So they're always 4 years behind.
It's a long time.
On the average, means that if you can distribute to the doctors best pathway of care, that's what EPIC is trying to do in this case. Okay, you improve the healthcare delivery because you are showing empirically what works best for that particular condition, that specific condition. Now,
so do you believe right now that like AIs could reliably conduct this process, SOAP?
I think so. I think that, and there is at least, I mean, over time, yes. Okay. And, but I think that if we have these elements, if we can see what is for each condition, for each diagnosis, what is monitoring, what is evaluation, what is assessment, what is treatment, okay? And I have here, and I can tie at least these elements to this diagnosis, okay? And under this, by the way, there are many things, right? It's all part of the objective, like monitoring and evaluation. I mean, all the lab results, all the things that get done, and if I can connect all this with each diagnosis, and I can do it, it's kind of like I can build a graph for every doctor, but also I can have the graph for the best pathway of care. Now I can intersect both. And then you can start really improving healthcare.
What database are you using right now?
Just SQL.
SQL?
Right now, yeah.
I know that with SQL, you could do this with SQL kind of easily. But yeah, I feel like with SQL right now, you could do this pretty easily. You have like database engineers like on the team that just like focus on database stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
So it's so I want basically what I think that the opportunity is to build these in a way agents for different things, because the doctors are just following plans, and this is very, again, they build this and they have this plan. You know how many drugs a doctor uses for all their patients on average?
How many drugs a doctor uses for their
For
patients?
all their patients nationwide average.
No idea.
Guess.
Billions of pounds?
No pounds. No.
Oh.
Type of medications. What what type of medications
Oh, like
do they prescribe?
antibiotics, like that.
Any type of medication.
Oh, I see.
Any type of medication.
How much?
How many of them? How many types of medication?
Oh, hundreds, thousands. Not hundreds of thousands, maybe
On average,
thousands.
on a doctor to treat all their patients.
100 or so.
12.
12?
With 12 medications, they treat all their patients.
Really?
That tells you how narrow.
What are the 12?
How no, it changes from doctor to doctor. This is the
Oh, shit.
average. How many they use? Some use less, some use a little bit more, but that's the average. So that tells you why the pharma companies spend so much money advertising to patients and advertising and sending free samples to doctors and things like that. It's illegal now, but they used to send, and they have all these. You know that pharma companies hire 1 out of 3 cheerleaders out of college, right? It's
pretty good.
okay. So
Pretty good marketing.
yeah, so to influence doctors, because if you can make them change one drug out of the 12, just
It's a lot of billions.
It's a lot of money. Okay, so why does happen? It's because everybody has his own gestalt. Okay, so the doctor is basically practicing on autopilot. If you go to the doctor, that's why they're just they have this thing, and they just practice in automatic mode. It's like a robot, right? So the issue is, how do you modify this bell-shaped curve of practice? You need to show them that there is a better way just to change or how to affect each assessment. But now you need to start intersecting social determinants of health, which is mental health, is nutrition, is access to food, is access to education, the education of the person, the family, where the person lives, access to.
I feel like though,
if
you gave like all the documents that you had on a patient to an agent, it could definitely make very, very reasonable, accurate decisions. Like, you take all their history and you just feed it into an agent, and then you say, give it like a summary of the patient's medical history, and it'll be really good. Or you can even say, you can even try predicting new conditions that might arise from previous conditions. And then you can also provide treatments. And that's actually what I did. I built a little demo here. I created a bunch of fake medical data, and then I created an agent to help summarize the data. And then we can implement that's 4 letters, right? SOAP. We can have 4 agents that do those things, and then they talk to each other. The S agent will talk to the O, then what is it, the A?
Yeah, the first one that I would like to do is monitoring, evaluation, assessment, and treatment, right? And saying, okay,
Can you say it again? Which one?
Monitoring.
Okay.
Evaluation, assessment, and treatment. Okay. And I can.
So this is the agent. It's basically like 20 lines of code. Mm-hmm. I gave it some pretty deep instructions. It says you're an expert healthcare data summarization specialist, and then I gave it these are all instructions. And then in this folder we have a bunch of patient data. So we have a patient Michelle Figueroa. Then we have a bunch of like contact, phone, email, like private information and whatever. And this is supposed to simulate like if we were to take all the unstructured documents that we had on a patient and give them all to an AI. This is like simulating that. So it's like the entire medical record for a particular patient. And then here we can simply ask the agent about the like patient, and then it'll find the document autonomously and read those documents about that patient. So if here we say Courtney Johnson just came in for a visit, give me a report of the patient's medical history, it's going to find Courtney Johnson, and then it's going to read its medical history. And that way, it's a very, very scalable system.
Right. So
if you say
it summarizes things for you.
Yeah. So let's look at. So her is P000 something 3. She Courtney Johnson is. Let's see what it has. We have vitals, blood pressure, heart rate, data like that. Some diagnosis: depression, migraine, medications, gabapentin, metoprolol, amlodipine. It's basically just like synthetic data.
Yeah.
But if we try to ask the agent this question, like give me a report of the patient's medical history, it will do that very reliably, and then we can go on to like treatment and things like that. So we're gonna run it. We're asking Courtney Johnson just came in for a visit. Give me a report of the patient's medical history, and then it's like I said, it's gonna like search through a mini database of all these documents, and then we'll get a response. So very easily, this is just like an API. Like integrating this would be super, super easy. You just make an API request, you render the response, and that's it. Now the user can save a bunch of time understanding the patient. You can understand the entire patient's like medical history. You can even predict future like diagnosis, future conditions. Because if you have like an accurate record of a patient's near-term history, very reliably you could predict what will happen next. And then if you know that, then you can also create treatment plans for those potential situations.
And one thing that we need to do is basically infer diagnosis based on, per se, lab results or other things that are in the record. So
Yeah.
say based on things like this, there's a diagnosis is not mentioned here, but
Infer diagnosis based on lab results.
it could be lab results, yeah.
Or what else?
Other symptoms.
Okay. Or other symptoms. Yeah, that makes sense. So here we have the full report. It says Courtney Johnson has had a complex medical history characterized by multiple chronic conditions, including depression, hypertension, arthritis, type 2 diabetes, and hypothyroidism. Recurrent visits indicate ongoing management of these conditions with notable concerns regarding mental health and pain management. Immediate attention is recommended for the management of depression and migraine. Then we have just a medical history, temporal trends, implications, and yeah, it's just a summary. So.
Right. So if I take as an example, if I said, okay, I want to find all the patients that have a particular condition, that's very easy.
Find all the patients.
But that's the most important thing for us right now is to basically look at find evidence for each diagnosis
Mm-hmm.
that each of these things has been done, that there has been monitoring has been done for this diagnosis, or the patient has been evaluated for this in the last year, or there is treatment related to this. So we need to intersect everything that refers to monitoring or evaluation or treatment to each diagnosis. So I had to go and say, okay, need to learn everything that is evidence of treatment for this diagnosis and see if it's been done for this particular patient, or evidence that this patient is being this condition is being managed through evaluation or monitoring. Means labs have been done for this particular. So the system needs to know what labs apply to this particular diagnosis, what other type of test apply, and then if there are abnormal values or things like that may be indicative then of other problems. So then is where you have the inference of other, or the condition is worsening, is stable, it's getting better. So
That's totally possible. We could try that right now. That might actually work right now. So I'll start off with find all the patients with diabetes, because I think you mentioned that first. And let's see if it gives us their names. Interesting. And the second question, or he says, is the conditioning worsening or getting better?
And that is based on
Is the condition for Courtney Johnson
that particular condition
getting better? What she has multiple conditions.
Okay, just whichever.
Diabetes, mental health. Mental health was a particular concern for the agents.
Okay.
Is the mental. So I'm going to say, is the mental health condition for Courtney Johnson getting better? And then you can say something like, give me a report. But in your case, you wouldn't have to say any of this. It would just be a button, and then like an AI, like the response would pop up.
Yeah, of course.
So it's just running. There's the reports. Let's see. So there it is. So Courtney Johnson's mental health condition appears to be improving based on recent medical records. Initially diagnosed with both depression and migraines, subsequent evaluations indicate a reduction in the complexity of her mental health issues. The latest visit reflects a focus solely on depression, suggesting a positive trend in her overall mental health status. Then it has an analysis. Depression and migraines documented symptoms include persistent sadness, fatigue, headaches, and then it gives you a summary of the visits. So you say, it says visit 1, notable reduction in migraine frequency, depression symptoms still present. Visit 2, further decrease in migraine-related complaints. Mental health assessment indicates improvement in mood and coping strategies. Latest visit, only depression is noted with no mention of migraines, indicating progress. Yep. Is that along the lines of
Yeah, because that is then you can you can out of um, the timeline when the things have been done, right? It says, okay, this condition has been evaluated, okay, or it's been monitored, right? So you said, okay, I have evidence here that this particular condition that I'm billing for is being monitored, and that is enough to support that the condition is being managed. Just as an example, okay, a very very simple thing. That's what I was, you know, looking at these things, because these are, we need to find evidence that support the the management of each condition. If we can do this, then it said, okay, fine. Now, then you get into the details of, per se. If you said, okay, show me the uh, lab lab results per se for diabetes A1C. You know, they do. So they say, okay, in all these patients, which one had A1C and over this this particular value. So abnormal A1C results. So then you can say, oh, okay, fine. I have all these patients with abnormal thing. Have they been followed up? Is the doctor doing anything? Do I have evidence that the doctor is has looked at these things or not? I mean, there are a lot of things that you can do. You can build mini agents, right? For each thing. Literally, you could build an agent for every single diagnosis, and there are 90,000 diagnoses. So you can say, show me for every diagnosis that evidence of how you of these four things, right? So that's I'm talking about building components that then you can, when you aggregate them, then it becomes a more interesting solution, because, and then you can say, what are the best treatment for this particular condition. Find me what is the best outcome, or the best pathway to treat this condition. I don't know the work that you're doing with Epic, where they get these pathways. Where are they searching for these pathways of care? But the pathway of care can change based on the access that you have. You may say, okay, I'm going to apply MD Anderson for cancer, for a particular type of cancer, because they have the best outcome in the world. And then for a different type of cancer, I need to find something from, I don't know, a college in Berlin that they have best outcomes for that particular conditions, and this is the way it needs to be treated. That by, I mean, each of those, in a way, are agents. So it's the things you can do is almost unlimited. So, but the issue is where the money is, right? The money is first, because then with that money you can keep building and building and building and building.
Well, the value proposition, I think, for you and your customers are, by using agents, you can directly save dozens, if not hundreds, of hours on activities that you normally would have had to do anyways, like monitoring, and that you probably couldn't even do, because doctors do a lot of stuff and they cannot be, checking like evaluations, seeing if this works, if that works, over dozens of visits. It very quickly, like the number, like all the data stacks up pretty quickly. So the value proposition here is, like, with agents in healthcare and within the platform, you could save hundreds of hours on monitoring, evaluation, diagnosis, treatment.
Yeah, because
I think that's a very, very well, it's that's where the money is. The money is in saving people's time.
yeah, it saves people time and also triggering actions for things that they haven't done because they don't have visibility. It's I so that happens a lot. That there is a lot of buried data, and it's an. I was approached a few years ago by a very large group that has nationwide, I don't know, thousands and thousands of doctors going to hospitals and and they should and radiologists and they have a huge database of reports of radiology reports, and let's say a radiology reports, an MRI or whatever CT scan is ordered for a particular purpose, but in the report, they say they found other things that have nothing to do with what it was ordered for. But the doctor who ordered that, he's only looking at that reason why he ordered the test. Right? Now, it may be something there in the test that as time goes by, it will kill the patient or it will be a big cost item for the payer. But because you can identify it, so the data is there, but nobody's paying attention to that data. It has already been diagnosed, it's already been identified. But because the doctor who ordered the test for another reason is not looking at those things. And you can discover all these other things and you can prevent escalation of those diseases. Then you're doing a lot of good. It's all like collateral damage in a way, but in the reverse. So now it's collateral whatever. It's and you deploy something like that is just reading through all this stuff, all these reports that have been done, looking for okay, what is there that. And then it says, have things been followed up? Has this been treated? Is there something based on the progression of this disease indicative? It could rule out this particular condition. Or if I see something in an imaging study, and then I see an abnormal lab results, or then you said, okay, track this particular lab as an example because it would be indicative of these symptoms or whatever.
What is your current business model? Like, is it
the business model that we have right now is that we get paid by the I'll show you. I'll tell you how it is. This you have to understand how the money flows to begin with. Federal government, CMS, okay. This is Medicare, Medicaid, all those plans. Now let's talk about Medicare, people over 65. Pays the insurance company. I'm going to say Florida Blue, okay? As an example. It could be Humana, it could be, Aetna. So money goes this way, okay? Money goes this way. And then these people go and they said, I'm going to contract out with a network of doctors. Okay. So this could be the Baptist network as an example.
Sinai?
It could be Mount Sinai or whoever. So they can say, okay, I'm going to contact with Mount Sinai. I'm going to contact with Baptist, okay? And I'm going to contact here with Memorial, okay? And so the patients, when you are, let's say you are my age, and you say, I qualify for this, I qualify for Medicare, okay, and first of all, I have to select one of these groups, and I select this one of these groups based on the benefits that each of them offer me. And maybe, I'll give you free transportation, I give you whatever, I'll send you a lift if you need to go to a doctor or whatever nonsense. Or my co-payment is a little bit lower, instead of being $20, it's $15, whatever it is. So I said, okay, I selected Humana. Yeah. Now, Humana contracts also with this and with this. So then I have to decide which of these I will select as my network. So now I said, and within this network, then I'm gonna, let's say I select Memorial. And then I said, okay, which doctor I want. That is why it's called my primary care, my PCP, my primary care physician. Okay, who's gonna basically say my gatekeeper. This is the guy I see all the time, and he refers me to other doctors if it's necessary, right? And then these groups then go and they contract, let's say, with Quest Laboratory or with LabCorp or with someone else, Unilab, whatever. Okay, so they have, and they so that if this he orders me and they are contracted for Humana just with Quest, I have to go to Quest to get my lab done. I cannot go anywhere else. Because if I would go anywhere, I have to pay out of my pocket. So now, in all this, how do they get paid for me? So now you understand the network, right? And how money flows. Okay, and this, everything is money that gets paid down. This is, let's say they get $100, they're gonna pay. Okay, so here they're gonna pay $100. These guys will gonna keep $20, and they're gonna pay here $80. Okay, their profits is 80, or their what they keep is going to cover their costs and make $5 out of the 20. These guys run this. Now what happened? How much money do they receive? And this is how the model works. You have, on average, for every patient, is they receive about, I'll use round number, $10,000 per year. Okay? Times what they call the risk adjustment factor. How this is like a FICO score. Okay?
Of someone's ability to receive?
No. This is calculated based on different things. On my age.
Number of previous visits?
No.
No.
No. It's my age, is my gender, if I am ambulatory or I'm in an institution. Okay. So this is what's called demographics. So there are a few of them. But then it's what conditions do I have? If I have COPD, okay, each of them has a factor. Let's say this is a factor of 0.34. This is a factor of 0.12. This is a factor of 0. Whatever, 7. This is a factor of the diabetes mellitus type 2. Is a factor of 0.213. They add all these and they come up with a number that is a risk adjustment factor. So if I don't have anything and you add these two here, okay, I have 6 and 4, okay, the factor is multiply this times this. Just if I don't have any chronic disease, they're gonna receive, for me, they're gonna receive $4,600 per year. But here I added 0, 913, right? So I added some number by factor after these two things, it became this plus the 1 point whatever, what did I say, 46? Okay, so now it's like a 1.373. So now they're gonna receive $13,700. They say $13,700 for me. Okay.
That
And
makes sense.
It changes per person because it's related to the cost of treating each condition.
Oh, I see.
Okay? So being able to see which conditions, that's why what is the specificity on the selection of the right diagnosis and the evidence that diagnosis
So you mostly work with insurers.
with insurers,
Okay.
insurance companies, and
But
these groups that are at risk, because the insurance company get this money, but these groups also get affected because if they messed up, they get less money. If they don't document, they are at risk because it's like they're overcoding of the government coming, do an audit and said, now you have to give me all this money back. And it's not because the patient is not sick. It's not because you didn't treat the patient. You didn't document that you treated it. You didn't have proper documentation on the treatment of the patient.
that makes sense. Let me use the bathroom really
Oh.
quick, Ben.
Now with the agents, do I need to parse the data or not?
Your like the medical data.
The medical data.
Well, no. If you use something like a vector database, which is kind of like I'm not going to say it's a full database, but it's like a mini database only for agents, then it'll parse the data automatically. So it's like NoSQL. You say, Courtney Johnson. It'll fetch all the documents about Courtney Johnson. So it's a pretty easy
And
to use.
if I said I want to find all the
Or you
all the lab results as an example from all my patients.
You would have to.
And
You
let's
would.
say I have them already on a structured database.
Oh, you could give that database. You can give all the data in the database to the RAG system, and then on top of that RAG system, the agent would query that. So it would say, Courtney Johnson, or you say all patients. It'll give you all the patients, or it can give you a summary on top of all those patient records. So vector databases are what are the databases agents use, because agents are not really good at structuring super precise information. Like if you wanted to get an agent to output a SQL query, it would be kind of difficult. Whereas in a RAG system, you don't need to do that. You say Courtney Johnson, medical records, summarize Courtney Johnson's history, and it'll fetch the documents autonomously related to Courtney Johnson. There's no language, SQL language.
It's just natural language, or even Chinese or Spanish or whatever.
Right.
So yeah. But to what I was saying, I'm curious. So for the insurers, you work with the insurers.
Yeah, so insurance company, they pay. Okay, so basically, the model of what they pay us is per member per month. Okay.
Oh, per member per month?
Yeah.
For their team members that use.
No team members. Every patient they insure.
Oh, I see.
So they're gonna say, okay, you're gonna pay me to do all this, to extract all this data for you.
So it's a subscription.
It's a subscription. So you're gonna pay me per se 20 cents per patient, okay, or $1 or whatever, right? And I'm gonna I'll tell you exactly each patient which is the diagnosis that it has, and we can compare it with the diagnosis that the doctor said, and then we can say, okay, for another whatever 30 cents, I can give you the evidence of this for each diagnosis of this meet criteria.
That's interesting. How many patients do you currently have registered?
On the aggregate, it's not that much of how I have, because right now probably we deal with, I would say around 1 million right now. Okay, but that's not.
Those are pretty good.
So, but the interesting thing is that we can distribute this to tens of millions. And everything we do, it's always cause and effect, because now you said, okay, I found this. What is the next agent that I'm gonna call? For what? I need an agent that will contact the patient to come to have a doctor's visit, or schedule a telehealth, or do whatever, right? So it's all process, and those things. There are lots of agents out there that you can utilize for that, but everything is based on the details that is buried in this medical data, because then the action comes out of that.
Interesting. Right now, we have we're working with a real estate firm to use agents to call leads to ask them if they want to sell their home. So we could very easily repurpose that system to just book appointments, or
Right.
follow up with people. That it's actually super cheap as well, and the quality of have you tried ChatGPT Voice? ChatGPT Voice.
I haven't.
ChatGPT Voice is almost more human than human voices. It's really good. But the thing is, I'm curious to see like is there any do you have like a way to give like demo access to the platform? Like, could you give me access to a fake account or something?
Yeah, I can give you access. I have some sanitized data. Not, I mean, let's say, in for one patient. Let's say I have like for one particular patient, I have like 144 different documents that is all sanitized, and then we can go from there. Yes,
Yeah.
I can have that. And
Because like this what I showed you today, this is like AI generated medical history. You know, it's not like a
real medical history. No, we have, imagine, I mean, tons and tons of medical records. Okay? And we have access. Also, if I need to retrieve real medical records, I'm connected to all the networks. I could retrieve from 1,700 Epic systems in the country. Yeah. Okay. So I can literally, without having to do, it costs me. Okay. It's retrieving each of them. It costs me. But if I said, okay, I want to pull whatever, 10,000 patients, and I need to have a reason for that. Someone needs that. It's not like I can just go and retrieve it for any reason. But if I say I have the authorization to retrieve these records, which we get, then I have a health plan. As an example, right now I have a health plan with 2,000 patients, and I have been retrieving for them data for the last year and a half. So I have all the records for all their patients. Right? So I said, okay, I need to mine this. I need to find this condition. I have all that. Just as an example. So I say, okay, let's find, what do we want to find about those patients? Okay, what are the things that they need in those patients? So we can build agents to do that. And then that insurance company say, okay, I can get this information to you. We'll charge you so much, and if not, they have to do it with humans.
That'd be a very good upsell for you. You could upsell them on like maybe like a premium part of the platform with like a boatload of AI features,
Right.
and like that could be like maybe like 20. I mean, do you charge per patient percent, like 20 cents per patient, or like that's so if you had AI features, you could probably charge like 30 cents or 40 cents or like more than that even.
Right. Everything has a
That'd be a lot of money. That could be.
Yeah, so we can build. The idea is that if you are interested, we can build something that also is kind of like it generates. It becomes a cash cow.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. The issue is how we work together. Okay, and then because I'm interested in saying I don't want to build something and then it's going to be sold somewhere else. I want to be able to sell it myself, and so I come out with all this stuff, whatever. So I want to create a business relationship with you, where I said, okay, you get a percentage of this, for every dollar we collect, you get whatever cents, and then let's go and sell them. And I mean, we sell them, and we sell them to everybody, because I have all the channels. I have all the to the health plans, to the large health systems, to the medical groups, and we can I can distribute this. I can wholesale this stuff to companies that have the contracts already. So I'm not limited by our direct clients. Like, as an example, one of my clients is a company, is the Rochester Health System in New York. state of New York, Rochester. So everything that does that system, we can have access to. Um, I have access to Humana, have access to Cigna, have access to Florida Blue, to Guidewell, which is the parent company. But also we have access to companies like it is a client of ours, EXL Health, that is a $5 billion company, and they are doing IT for 70% of the health systems in the country. So we can use that as a channel. Of course, they make their piece. We get paid our piece from them, but we can distribute this in mass. And
Absolutely. Building the agents is not very difficult. You just saw it. I built that agent pretty quickly, and it's gotten to a point where we can automate the design of agents very, very well. Especially if we have like example input data. So if we have real data, building good agents is not really a problem. But like for the example I showed you, there could be issues if they're like are not like we need to have like real data.
it's always in the corpus. The problem is always the corpus.
Yeah.
Because if you have crappy data, you're gonna get an agent that is doing crazy things.
Yeah.
Right.
So if we have real data, then we can make these agents like really, really reliable, and that's what we're doing with Epic right now. They're giving us real data. We had to go and create a framework called MedGuard, and MedGuard is a framework that basically like it takes all the private information like name, credit card, address, like everything that is private, and basically anonymizes it.
So
Before-
sanitizes the whole thing.
Yeah, before it
And
goes,
that is a tool or is an agent that will do that?
it's a tool.
It's a tool.
It prepares input. It prepares medical data for
Is
agents.
MedGuard.
MedGuard. It's a framework we created internally,
Okay.
so that before it
So
reaches,
you guys build this MedGuard.
yes,
Okay.
before it reaches the agent, it will sanitize a bunch of input data, names, address.
And that gets deployed where?
So you have like just say a medical record, right? When you have the medical record, before it'll reach an agent, it'll go to MedGuard. MedGuard will then sanitize it.
Understand. But let's say, where do I deploy MedGuard?
Oh,
Because the medical
it's just a
record
Python.
lives- right. So, but what I'm saying is, I can deploy it in the client's environment.
Totally
the
possible.
MedGuard, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking because once you leave that environment, then there is it's a problem because there is no control.
It's local.
It's local.
100%
So,
local.
Local. Okay.
Yeah, and so the reason why we made it is because we obviously, well, we're the first ever to create like HIPAA compliant agents, and MedGuard is the reason why. So when MedGuard runs locally, and it sanitizes all the data before it reaches the actual agent, so the agent will know like you could
And
change that.
How is that MedGuard? What guarantees that MedGuard cleans the record 100%? I mean that
It's recursive. So let's say you have a document. It'll start off like it'll scan through the document, find a bunch of data. It's basically like a mini AI. It's not like it's kind of like a mini neural network. It'll scan the document. It'll check for address. It'll check fields, address, social security, credit card, and name even, or you can
all
customize
the
it.
proper names. It will recognize what is a proper name.
Yes. So it scans through the document once, and then you can add a loop system. So every loop, it'll increasingly take out data that it thinks is not HIPAA compliant. But it's also very customizable. So there's room for flexibility.
So if there is, let's say that it went through it, okay, and then I have someone that says, "Oh, this also should have been sanitized." Okay, it's a way of
I mean, that might happen at like 1 out of 100 cases, but that's typically not the case.
Okay.
If we could have it loop through a document, a very large document, 50 times in like a quarter of a second. So, I mean, it's almost as good as a human person who would manually.
Sanitize.
So
That is very important and very valuable.
yeah, so we have been working on like the agentic. Actually, we're the only company on the planet right now that has been working on the infrastructure for healthcare grade, production grade agents.
Okay.
And yeah, I think Medgar would be particularly useful in this situation.
So tell me what is your business model?
Usage. So every time you use our agents, we charge a fee depending on how big is the input. So there's like input. Let's say you give an agent 50,000 words, we would charge maybe 1 cent, 2 cents, and it's per like input word. Like depending on the input word, then we calculate the usage fees. For example, GPT-4 is GPT-4 I think is $5 for 1 million words. So you give it 1 million words as an input, we'll charge you $5, and that's our business model.
Okay, so that's a business model across the industry, pretty much.
Yes, but when you have multiple agents, it's like it can get cheaper, and the velocity is a little bit faster because GPT-4 you only like if you use GPT-4 once, that could be like to get to 1 million tokens of like actual ChatGPT on your computer would take maybe like an hour, 2 hours, maybe a couple hours actually. But if you have multiple agents, you could do that in like you can have like 50,000 agents in 5 seconds, and that would be maybe like $100 or something. It all depends on how big, how many words are you giving the agent.
Okay. And when you're talking, those are real visible character words. When you say you talk words are like this word, this word, this word, this word. That's what.
Well, they're referred to as tokens.
Tokens, yeah.
I didn't say tokens because I don't think you know what a token is.
I know what a token.
Oh, you know what a token is? Okay, so I'll show it to you. So it's basically a token is basically every word. So if I go to OpenAI, OpenAI has a pretty good example visualizer. Let me show you. So if I want to take the old document of Courtney Johnson's medical history, here like we give it the whole response. This would only be maybe around like 572 tokens.
Okay.
So like a token could be a word. Like here, it's also spaces, stars. Like it's a lot of things. And this is how AI see. AIs don't see text naturally; they see tokens.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, we charge per token.
Per token. Okay.
Yeah. A helpful rule of thumb is that 1 token generally corresponds to 4 characters of text for common English text. This translates to roughly 3.5 of a word. So 100 tokens is equal to 175 words.
Yeah, and on average, on a line, there are about 11 words per line. So that would be an equivalent to about 3 tokens per line.
Here, overall, Courtney's mental health condition shows we have 1. Well, we have 2 because commas are their own token. So we have 2 here, 3. Courtney Johnson's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, they're usually 11 on average.
So different signals like dashes, hashtags, they're all different tokens. So
we used to have a big subscription business, and we were charging by the line. So the system calculate everything, the lines, the words, the characters, and then so we have standardized lines. We have black and white spaces, all this stuff, so you could define what basically a token was. Is and there is where you made the money because you paid for a definition of tokens to your worker and you charge your clients with a different definition of tokens. So you will not count as an example special characters, you're not going to count character returns, you're not going to count certain things. So you would just pay for, you would not count for black characters, you can just pay for white characters, but then you charge for everything. So that was called padding the line. So
Padding the line.
So you pad the line just with, on average like 30%. So you just there, just in the counting you just make 30% profit just by counting differently.
I don't know about all that.
No, I'm telling you, that was the whole business of transcription.
Oh,
Okay, of when people type stuff, medical records. It's I had clients all the big universities, UAB, Vanderbilt, and USC, all the universities in New York. I mean, a lot of business across the country with my previous company. We're doing all that work for them. So that's but yeah, no, it makes sense. So we can build a model based on this, that based on how we pay you, right? We could build something that it will make sense, because this translates into a page. So people usually, if I go and commercialize something, I said, oh, I'm going to charge you per token or whatever. I said, get the hell out of here. But if it makes
sense.
If I tell them I charge you per page, that is what they're used for, right? They're used to paying per page. As an example, if I use an OCR service from AWS, they're going to charge me per page. On the average, it's going to be so many tokens per page. Right.
Well, I mean, per token now is how everybody's charging.
Okay.
OpenAI, Anthropic, Gemini, Google.
So people are going to get familiar with that.
Everybody's pretty much already.
That's normalized.
Especially in B2B transactions, definitely. In B2C, people don't care what a token is. Then that's probably more in your case, it would be maybe 10% or 10 cents increase per patient. But it would be a much higher abstraction than a token, because everyday people don't know what a token is. It's mostly developers and B2B people. So
yeah. Okay. So you have, and your companies, you and who else?
10 other people.
10 other people. You're all partners?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they're all employees. I'm an employee as well.
Oh, you're an employee as well.
Everybody's an employee.
No, I understand that, but who owns the company?
Me.
You. Okay, you.
Yep.
Of course. So you own the company, and then, including yourself, are 10 employees or 11 employees, whatever. I don't care. But just I'm trying to understand who I'm doing business with.
Yep.
So, okay.
We do have a advisory board. Cal Milburn, I don't know if you've seen him talk. We have 3 advisors. We have the engineers that I mentioned. And then it's not really just us. We have hundreds and actually even thousands of contributors on open source. So the team is
Expandable.
very expansive. But the 10 plus me are like full time. Everybody has stock in the company. I just have the most stock.
Right. So you create like an employee stock option plan or something like that.
There you go.
And so incorporated where? Delaware?
Delaware,
Okay.
C Corp.
Okay. So and this is so what you build as an example. I said how can, if we do something together, okay, what is the IP? Is there any IP protection? Or,
You keep everything. We get paid per token,
okay.
and that's it.
Okay. And
I mean,
how-
does that make sense? Or
yeah, no, it makes sense. I just
Okay.
want to know, because if I need to add value to my company, right, on all these.
well,
So
the value that you're going to add to your company is that
it's
your users are going to be able to get things done much faster and save hundreds of
well,
hours.
I understand, but
And you could also have, like, you could upsell your existing customers or
of
make
course.
entirely new
Yeah.
product
Yeah,
lines.
yeah. So that is fine. Is the and it's how we package this also.
I think a very simple like to get like integration into a platform, just make a couple buttons, make it super simple, and then track that, and then that's pretty much it.
How do the system reports on the number of tokens to you?
How?
Yeah.
When you send a request to, let's say you took all the let's say you took all of a patient's medical history, you put that into the agents. Your front end, your platform is going to send an API request to our backend.
No, wait. Because then you are getting all the data, or you're gonna put.
We're not getting
something
all the
in-
data.
Okay, so the data resides in, let's say I'm AWS, my instance within AWS. Just as an example. Now, are you going to have the data the data and the analyzer? You're gonna have kind of like a docket or something sitting there that runs these tokens.
Our server with our agents are going to run in
in
AWS.
my environment.
Oh, no,
Why
our environment.
Why?
I mean, if that's what you want, you could.
The reason is because I have problems with my clients when I'm deploying, because then I have to disclose every single one that. So I want.
I mean, if that's what you want, then sure. But that does add like
Make it.
engineering overhead, because now we have to deploy to your server with environment variables, and it's just a mess. We have APIs that are ready for usage. So what would typically happen is your
Because
front
the issue is that
your
the problem
platform.
is for me to pass all the text to you. Okay, it becomes an issue with my clients, with any clients that I have, because of HIPAA, no matter what. Then I have to disclose to them, and they need to certify that because it's leaving my environment.
Well, I mean, we have to track the token usage.
Right, that's fine.
So
But you can have a docket, a whole docket that you own in my environment. It's your docket, but it resides in my environment. You can. I don't care what is inside of that docket.
okay.
Right. The issue is that it cannot leave, the data cannot leave my environment, just for for contractual obligations.
Hmm. That makes sense.
I think because we're doing this with everybody, because it will help you being able to deploy that way. It will give you also scalability. Or let's say if I go to Jackson Memorial, I have to deploy my thing within their environment because just moving the amount of data out of Jackson is crazy expensive. So I have to deploy my entire solution, all my dockets. I have to deploy it within their environment.
That makes sense.
Because otherwise I'm just moving their data. Just to move their data. First of all, the cost of moving the volume of data is crazy, and then I have to prove them that my environment is safe for them and be subject to audits, subject to all the legal things, to additional insurance. And I have a huge client in New York. They want me to do business in a public company. They want me to have like $150 million of liability insurance. I couldn't close the deal. Crazy. What the heck is it cost me for every $10 million of liability insurance? It cost me like $200,000. So it becomes impossible. But to avoid that, I said, hey, I have no problem. I package my thing, I put it in there. All I do is I have the clock sending me, tells me, and if you don't pay me, I shut you down. I shut down my dockets until you pay. So think how we can engineer that. We do it. I mean, we do it because it's otherwise I had to get every single client to approve. Oh, I'm going to move the data there. I'm going to move the data there. I'm going to move the data there, and it's a big problem with the interface with the EHRs because now it's.
I mean, Epic didn't have this problem at all. Epic is calling our API. We're not building in their environment.
And they're passing all the data to you.
Yeah.
All the medical records.
That's what would have to happen anyways.
That's a huge volume of medical records.
I mean, the data is sanitized before it reaches our server, as I mentioned.
Okay, so it's sanitized.
So, I mean, we don't know who it is. We don't know, like, anything about this person. It's basically, like, it's real data, but it's all clean. It's all sanitized. So, but they're calling our API, and that's how we typically do business.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that. I'm looking at how also I told you we have this opportunity in Saudi Arabia. We're gonna have to deploy it one way or the other. When we go to countries or whatever, we're gonna have to deploy it within those environments. So we need to think how we can.
I mean, you have to upsell because that's a lot of work. I mean, you could. I mean, if people want to deploy things within their environment,
they pay us. Okay, like
Okay.
they listen. EXL pay us $250,000 for us to put it in there. We're not doing it at, just you want me to install it there. Then I have to monitor this stuff and maintain it or whatever. They pay us for that.
Okay,
There is not a problem.
that makes sense.
It's because otherwise to do something that you can start generating revenue in 2 months because of all the nonsense, legal nonsense, it may take a year. So it's no good business for anybody.
Yeah.
Right? If I said, hey, you know what? I'll put it in your environment. End of the question. Legal department has nothing, but you know what? You have to pay me so much for me to put it there, extra. As long as I can shut it down, I have basically if they don't get the key, it shuts down. They cannot. They have to call for a key. The server has to be calling for a key to, it's like Microsoft Defender, whatever.
Yeah. But I mean, we're ready 24/7.
Yeah.
We are like building thousands upon thousands of agents every day.
Okay, that sounds
So
good. So
we already
let's-
have the agents.
let me define this. Basically, you need send me your standard agreement, what you guys have. We'll do an NDA, whatever, and then we do let's do a small project, and we go from there.
That
Makes
works.
sense?
Yep.
And then we build thousands and tens of thousands of agents and millions of agents, and just get collect the money.
There you go.
That's what I mean. We're in the same business. I build these things. They pay me for every patient they enroll that they put in the things. We get paid every month. It's we just two things we don't do. We don't play bank, and we don't play insurance. It's and there will always technically has to be a human in the loop. We're not taking responsibility for the outcome because it's we can't control all the variables. It's very, very complex. I mean, healthcare is way too complex in terms of the variability.
That'll be changing soon.
It will, but there's still a margin of error.
Yeah.
Even if it's a very small margin of error, I don't want to be, on the line if someone gets hurt.
Of course.
I mean, this human error. So the whole issue is like, are these agents or whatever have a lower error than the humans? But there's no legislation around that yet, right?
AIs are generally, like, if architected correctly, AIs are much more reliable, much better, and more accurate than humans. So that's not a problem. In fact, humans are the ones that are most often not accurate or reliable at all.
I understand, but there is legislation. There is no medical malpractice for agents yet.
That's a good thing.
But it will, right?
I don't think so. Especially now that Trump won.
Yeah.
There's going to be less. Actually, they're overturning the AI Regulations Act. So when that is repealed, there will be no AI regulation in the United States.
Well, Newsom did that in California already, right?
No, he blocked it.
Oh, he blocked that. Okay.
No AI regulation.
But he blocked that? I thought that he was pro.
No.
No.
Well, if it would have passed, it would have been very harmful for Californian companies, which we have an office there. But he blocked it. He repealed the AI Regulations Act.
So he repealed it. Yeah.
Over there, yeah.
Yeah, over there.
But
I'm saying, but now
Biden passed Biden passed an AI Regulations Act for models that can generate proteins and biological structures. And that was the AI Regulation Act, which is going to be repealed by Trump.
And when that's done, there will be no regulation of AI in the United States at all.
Which will give us an edge over the Europeans for sure.
Yeah.
Because they are regulated like mad.
Yeah. And also South America.
South America is regulated. No, I don't think Argentina with Milei will be too regulated. He's going to follow
Maybe.
whatever Trump says.
Yeah.
Does. I mean,
That could be the
he's
case.
like a mini Trump.
Definitely inspired by Trump.
So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting next 4 years,
No regulation.
except abortion.
AI engineering is the only thing that's important right now. No AI regulation is very good for us. And also cheaper cost of energy.
Oh, by the way, part of what he's going to accelerate is this model that I was explaining to you today. On 55% of all the Medicare population is on this model. There's still 45% of the population is not. He wants to convert it to 100% of the Medicare population. So we'll double our sandbox.
It's pretty good.
So it's a something that I mean, all the ACA, all the Obamacare stuff follows this model. Medicare 50%, or for 55% so far. It's going to increase tremendously, and then all the so this is going to get very, very agile, and so it's going to be a time race to deploy this and to grab markets. So that's why I wanted to accelerate it. We do already what we do. We have the platform, we have the clients, we have the name. It's a good.
We have the agents.
You have the agents, so it's a good relationship. So
Absolutely.
and and how that so the MedGuard, did you trademark that name? That is your name, MedGuard?
Yes.
Register or copyright, I mean trademark or register the brand. Okay.
We have a swarm of trademark agents.
Yeah.
So we could trademark, patent, anything pretty quickly.
Okay. And do you know about the real estate stuff going on in the disclosures and negotiation between agents? That law,
What do you mean?
I think, can be a good cash cow for us to. I'll get you the details. Every time there is a transaction, okay, in California, as an example, I think this is nationwide now. What happened, and this came of some lawsuit or whatever. So now the buyer and the seller, okay, they have agents.
Mm-hmm.
So you have is how they split the commission. Usually it's split it, but now they can they have to negotiate, and it's a back and forth negotiation. Okay, between the agent of the buyer and the agent of the seller, and it's a shitload of paperwork that they need to do for this. So we could automate that paperwork.
That sounds pretty easy.
So right. So every real estate agent in the country is in every transaction that gets closed in real estate nationwide will generate money.
That sounds pretty fun.
Okay. So let me check on that, and we'll put one like that, and we'll
Building that's very easy.
just have spare change.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I'm always looking at. I'm by nature a problem solver, so I look at problems.
That's good.
So I don't care what type of problem they are. I'm looking at. My daughter is like that also. She's a problem solver. So it's like, oh, there's a problem there. How do we solve it?
Yeah.
And that's and you can build a business around solving problems. That's the whole point. So, but here you need to. Makes it very, because with agents, you don't need to build big business and have all the overhead and all that to solve a problem. You can publish this stuff to solve specific problems.
You want to see something crazy? We're building a no-code swarm, so you can build your own agents in no-code.
Okay.
And so here you just say like, say, financial agent analyst, and you would basically like fill it out. You say analyst, and you say worker. You can choose what model. You say
How
analyst.
do you know which was the best model?
Experience. That's the only way. So here it says it.
Because I imagine for different things, different models, right? Are
Yeah.
better than others.
So here we can drag and drop them and like move them around, and then we can define the flow. So the flow is like, how do the agents talk to each other? That's a big question, because there's a sequential swarm, which is I do my work, then I give it to you, then you give that to someone else, and we call that sequential. Or there's concurrent. Concurrent is here there's 5 agents, and if we send a task to all of them, they're all going to run at the same time.
So I can have like an example, a medical coder agent, right?
Yeah.
And now I can have this medical coder I put on a sequence that
Mhm.
work, okay, do this and comes out of this, goes to this and this and this, and then I can have a rebuttal process, like it's a circular thing that if they don't agree on certain things, if there are some differentials or something, or it will get, or if there is a particular element, I can elevate it to another agent that will make a decision.
Yep.
If this one or that one is. And do you track on the agents?
I just sent you the link, so you could try it out yourself on your computer.
Okay.
But yeah.
And how do you?
This is our no-code UI.
Okay. And what?
This is for like more simple things,
Uh-huh.
for things that don't require like accessing databases and things like that.
So this is by if you know the rules, basically.
Yeah.
If I said, okay, I have to apply this rule. If this is this and this, then I do that.
Yeah, but for somebody like you, which requires a touch of more reliability, you would use the Python version of Swarms, which is the like developer API version. Whereas this is like mostly for like simple things like analyzing account statements, creating a trademark swarm, creating a financial swarm, like kind of like simple things that you can do just with prompting.
Okay.
As we are making it more complex and like more multifaceted, but as of now it's still kind of early.
Okay.
So yeah, I sent you a link for this if you want to check it out.
Okay, I will.
But this is basically like a no-code way of playing with swarms. But you would be using our API.
Right. Yeah. No, I understand. I mean, this is basically it calls your APIs. I mean, it's nothing. It's just.
Yep. So.
Okay. Good. So So by definition, the swarm is a group of agents.
A swarm is anything more than 2 agents. So if you have 2 agents, that's a swarm. But it can go up to 50 or 100 or 1,000 or 100,000, 100 million, a billion, and it keeps going. Anything more than 2 AIs talking with each other is a swarm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So anytime you have more than 2 and they talk with each other is a swarm. But then there's different types of swarms, which is how they communicate, which I briefly mentioned.
So as an example, let's say I have a, like I was telling you, like a medical coder, right?
Mhm.
And there are all these coding rules. There's a book of coding rules.
Yep.
Okay. So we can either take the book and teach an agent all the coding rules.
Of course, very easily.
So I said,
If you have a PDF, send me a PDF and I'll do it. But see, the thing is with that, you couldn't do that on the drag and drop UI yet. You would need the code
no,
API.
I understand.
But
So-
you could definitely do that right now.
So I can say, okay, I can have here, I can just say, I can have this coder, this agent code this stuff.
100%.
And then, so I have this particular, as an example, I have a coding rules. Then I have CMS, the government rules. You cannot code from this document. You cannot code from this section within the document. You cannot do this. You cannot do that.
You can teach the agent. Bless you.
Thank you. So I can have, all these things. So I can put it through this sequence. And I can say, okay, I can only code out of this, and in this I'm gonna look, and just everything else is filtered out.
You could do that.
Or I have we already have about 14,000 expressions of sections in medical documents that we collected over many, many years. So now these sections, okay, could be defined in many, many different ways. So then I can say and then based on the type of sections in every page, now I can infer what type of document it is. Is these 3 pages contain these sections? Then I infer that these 3 pages are an emergency room, emergency department report versus a lab report versus a radiology report. And all those things, basically today, is a pain in the ass because they can, in PDF that got scanned, and you get thousands and thousands of pages all concatenated in one big thing all together. And we apply some computer vision to basically do all this work, OCR computer vision, which is all basically vector stuff, and to separate all this.
You can have agents do this pretty easily. You just pass in the file. And that's it.
Okay.
Send me
So I'll
the
send you a few use cases, because we could, again, they're all tasks that are being done not just in healthcare, in many industries for specific things, and they are pain in the ass to resolve, especially for document classification and then because you need to feed them through different processes based on the document type. And in healthcare, like I said, document types, is in the thousands, there are sections within the documents in the tens of thousands. So it was today that we are doing it with computer vision and OCR. But if there's a more efficient way of doing it, and the problem with that methodology is that it costs a lot of computer processing with computer vision.
You just have agents do this much faster and probably much cheaper as well.
Because the problem is not is the processing cost that we have.
I see. Well, we could build like a test application and see how much it would cost and how much it would save. Maybe that could be beneficial.
Yeah, because if we can reduce that, because otherwise it's money we're paying to Azure, to Microsoft, or to AWS, right? It's just for computer processing.
Yeah. That's interesting. Send me any preliminary documents or any SOPs, and we can try that.
Well, like I said, there are many things that we can be solving and helping people.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you, Ted.
today.
I appreciate the water, even though I haven't touched it. So
Oh, keep it,
thank you.
please.
No, it's very good. So I'm gonna trash this. So here you're not working out of here. You guys are.
Um, well, you don't use this room, so you can't use this. Um, but the reason why they closed this is you can see the homeless people start coming in as it gets dark, so I guess people were on regular pay plan.
Take a look what happened. We will make America proud. Yes, together we will make America great. If you want to really see something that's take a look what happened. We will make America proud. We try to. America wealthy. Yes, together we will.
Trump won, boys. We got a VC and we got a founder in the White House. Isn't that crazy? That's insane. That's just ridiculous. And this app we're building now is so beautiful. Jesus Christ. Look at that. It's a no code swarmy. No code swarmy. Let's see what's going on in the Discord. Hey. I just got some chicken nuggets. Man, I'm hungry. Wow, is that a new feature, the no code? Yes, it is a new feature. It is an entirely new service. You can access it here. I'll send you a link. How does it work? You basically just drag and drop stuff. I posted the link. Here you can go. You could add a new agent. Say financial contract generator. You go here. You select your models and say generates a contract for finance. Then you go here and you say something like none, and then you can keep adding them. And then yeah, then you can run it. I'm not gonna run this many agents because it would be a little expensive, but build your own agents, build the prompts, and it'll be amazing. So you just add your agents and you say, what do you want here? You know, say do this, generate that, generate this, etc. It's kind of easy. We try to make it as simple as possible. You can even save the JSON, so you can share that with your friends now. You can load it. We're still fixing a couple things like this one. Does this work? But how do you drag and drop input, output from each node? No, we don't have that yet necessarily, because here on the top right, you define the swarm architecture. So you say sequential, concurrent, hierarchical, and then it'll autonomously execute. You should pretty soon you will have the ability to like say this agent talks to this one, and then this one talks to this one. But we're still building that. Does that make sense? Try it out. I recommend trying it out. It's still very early, though. Like I said, it's early, but it does work quite well.
Damn, man, I'm fucking hungry. Awesome. Would love to try it out when you have that input output feature. I'm currently using other tools to make the exact same no code thing. What tools are you using?
Some more chickens.
Fuck. No more chickens. No more chickens. Damn. I want more chicken. I want more chicken. Says. Let me know what thing you're using.
$1.28 trillion added to the U.S. stock market today. Pretty good. Zuckerblatts. So many things to do. Baby, I got lost in you. I'm kind of tired. Hell no.
Damn.